So let's have a look at the equipment that we're going to be using. Sharp knife, keyword here sharp, second keyword knife, hazard, cutting board, measuring cup, whisk, a couple of strainers, an assortment of bowls. Then comes the primary piece. This is a hand cranked pasta maker. I use it to make flatten my sopapillas, to making flatbreads, depending upon it, because it has different settings that I can set this to do that. This is what we're going to be pressing our aloe vera with. I'm not putting the connector on top that gives, where you can make spaghetti, flat cut noodles, whatever. We're just using the flat base piece. Now, I had to make it. Maybe you've got something around that you don't have to. But I got myself a plastic container that fits firm, but not overly wonky. In other words, I'm not forcing it in and out. On this, I took a piece of, is he up here? One of these things you use for barbecuing. Got lots of them. I use them for grilling vegetables, things like that. Or if I want this on it so I don't have to clean the grill as much. But I took one of these and made me a little stand. Like that. That fits a little over halfway in there. This is what we're going to catch our juice in. Okay, we'll get more into how this works once we get to the actual job at hand. For our flavorings, we're going to use Jell-o. The Germans have a Götterspeise. This is a cherry flavor. It's basically the same thing, except with this one you've got to add sugar. Okay, now if you're really against sugar and so on, of course you don't want to use the Jell-o. It already has sugar in it. But you could use an alternative like a liquid flavoring, and then Sure Jell. Sure Jell has no sugar in it. This one I don't believe has any sugar in it. It may. But all of these you can do cold, and that's important. We don't want to boil our aloe vera for 5 minutes and kill all the nutrients and stuff that we're trying to get from it. Now, in this process, I could take and squish out stuff this small if I was not trying to remove the lactate. You see that little white rim in there? Let me try to get that focused. You can barely see that little white rimming in there, right underneath the green. That's the latex. Now, that would be your gelling. And like I said, if you want to put a different flavoring or whatever, then that's up to you. One thing that I add, and is not essential, is vanilla sugar. I normally put 2 packs for every liter of liquid that I use. And then I use what we're going to be using for this is a gelatine, or guillotine, not guillotine, gelatine. It is just gelatin. It's done cold. Again, we're not having to cook it. And we're going to be mixing the Jell-O with this to ensure a proper thickness, because Jell-O, remember, is a very light gelatin. If it gets out and sits out on a counter at room temperature, it will start to decongel. It would start to melt. So we don't want that to happen. So that's why I'm using this with that. Another thing, you'll notice I've got two different sizes of Jell-O here. This one requires 1 cup of boiling water and 1 cup of cold water. Now, if you're going to be using the smaller one, you would be using 1 cup of boiling water and 1 cup of the aloe vera gel. This one requires 2 cups of boiling water and 2 cups of cold water. So we'll be putting 2 cups of boiling water and 2 cups of gel. So fairly simple. Just read your instructions. Half the water, half of it would be water, half of it would be the gel, would be the aloe vera. Okay? Because a lot of these require hot water to dissolve, and we don't want to be cooking our aloe vera. So, that's that. The last ingredient, of course, is our aloe vera. We've got this split. We're letting the latex wash out of it. This will set for about 6 hours. I'll drain it. And for me, that will be enough. Some people may want to do a second washing. But after the first washing, especially if the water comes out and it's not really yellow in color, it'll be slightly discolored because of the chlorophyll and the juice itself coming out a little. You're going to have some discolor. What we're looking for is, do you have a lot of big yellow coloring? You'll see this especially in the larger leaves. The smaller ones not so much, which is why I'm not having to double wash them. So we'll let this set for 6 hours, and then we'll come back and begin processing this. So some of the larger stuff I will actually even run through twice, simply because I'll get all that juice out of there. And because it's not falling into there, I can just grab it. Run it through. And there you have it. And just that little bit right there has already gotten me almost a cup. Let me get my measuring cup. All right, that little bit right there has got me a half a cup. That's maybe 10 leaves. Okay. Okay, this is going to move fast because it has to. We have our juice. Okay. It's been relatively strained. I've got to run it through one more strainer, but that's a different issue. We're going to be using Jell-O. This is going to be a cherry. It takes 4 cups of water, 2 boiling and 2 cold. But instead of 2 cold cups, we're going to use the aloe vera juice. So let's get the 2 hot cups going. Now I'm adding to this 2 small packages of vanilla sugar because I actually like the taste. And I normally do that with my Jell-O anyway. 1 package of cherry into my hot water. Stir until dissolved. Then I'm going to add my 2 cups of juice. I'm just trying to get the bits and bobs out, because doing it this way you'll always have a little bit. I'll save that gel for later. I'm going to stir this in. Except where I spill it on the counter and stain the counter, and then my wife kills me. I've got to wipe that up real quick. There we go. That'll go in the fridge. This gets wiped up. Ah, she's already coming in the door. No, 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 no. You don't see it. You don't see it. Ooh, she went the other way. And look at that. It's still friggin' stained. I think we should use Jell-O coloring for clothing dyes. This is a little 409. The 409 will take it right up if you've got these kind of counters. If you've got wooden counters, good luck. I'd put some kind of cover over it first. Okay, so the Jell-O worked out perfectly. 50-50. I've been eating on it for the last 24 hours or so, but I did a black cherry Jell-O, and it's good. When trying to make a jelly, though, I ran into a couple of problems. I'm not sure if it is something in maybe the latex or something that's still a residue in the aloe vera, but either I wound up with a very heavy gel consistency or it didn't gel at all. And so you'd wind up with something like that. That was a vanilla strawberry that I did. I mean, it still works fine as a Jell-O. Maybe if you warmed it up, it would spread, but it wasn't doing what I wanted. I tried doing one with Kool-Aid, cherry Kool-Aid. Again, the flavor and so on was fine, but it's definitely not spreading. Once again, I wound up with something more like a Jell-O. I mean, once you seal this and so on, it would probably last several months in storage without refrigeration, but not what I wanted. Then I used some of my leftover green tomatoes. You'll see this on a different one. And I made a green tomato jelly using it as part of the ingredients. And it worked. I don't know why. It's got to be something in the aloe vera that when you cut it down to proportions, it will do the binding. But with this, Give me a second. I tried it 50-50, and with the flavorings and so on, I tried a lemon, a cherry, a strawberry, but I always wound up with this thick gel. And this stuff is just, it's a gel. It's not going to spread that easy onto your bread. I mean, I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different gel types, both hot and cold, to see if maybe there was a chemical reaction with the heat or not, but no. So it's got to be something in the aloe vera. But when I mixed it at 25% to 75% of my other stuff, I wound up with almost a perfect spreadable jelly. So I honestly believe there's something in the aloe vera itself. And I'll put some peanut butter on the other side. You'll have to watch my peanut butter sandwich recipes on that one. But so that was the outcome of those. And I hope this has been informative.